Okay, so I'm working on Amy Beach's Ballad Opus number 6. I have been working on this piece for a really long time now. In fact, I think I started it about a year and 3 days ago. Um, it was the first piece I started from my LTCL repertoire. Now, this piece has been really challenging for me because it has been a year since I started it and still haven't really felt like it's complete. I would say it's about 70 to 75% there, but I'm yet to say that I've completed this piece. In fact, from all of the other repertoire I'm doing, which I started after this piece, I feel like I've managed to complete those to a great extent, but not so much this piece. Anyway, so this piece is pretty long. It's about 10 pages long, and for me, it's been quite challenging in multiple different ways. So, I am going to be showing this piece to my teacher today. Not the entire piece, just the last 5 pages, the second half of the piece, which is more challenging than the first half. That's quite common in many pieces. Um, but not only are these 5 pages challenging, but there are very specific sections which are not even very long, just like 2, 3 bar long sections, which I'm finding extremely challenging. To the extent that I feel I may not even get it up to a good standard by the time the exam rolls around. I have to try anyway. So what I'm going to do today is go through these 5 pages with a metronome played slowly, just so that I can increase the amount of clarity with which I'm playing these 5 pages. Um, the reason I'm doing this is one of the issues I was having is uh, one is I'm missing a lot of notes. There are a lot of notes played at once in some of these pages, and so I building clarity is definitely one thing I want to work on. The second thing is I want to build speed through those pages. Some of the pages are marked allegro, although they aren't true allegro. It's more like a moderate tempo sort of thing. Um, a whole different explanation as to why it's marked allegro but isn't played allegro. Anyway, so I'm going to be working on these 5 pages with the metronome slowly. I'm going to try and spend only about an hour playing it with the metronome. And I'd repeat each page more than once, of course. Um, After that, I'm going to work on the very, very small sections that I have been finding challenging. There is one section which is a trill played with 2 hands, which I'm finding quite challenging. I've been working on it for a very long time, but I haven't even come close to perfection. Maybe I've improved it like 10% from the time I first started practicing it. So that's something I really need to work on. And then if I do still have time before stopping practice for the day, I'm going to try and build musicality through the same pages. Now, why the musicality part I've put at the end is because I feel like I've already got it up to a fair standard. It's just that the lack of clarity kind of really takes away from the overall effect when I'm playing these 5 pages. So yeah, I'm going to start, and I'm going to start playing it with the metronome slowly. So I'm starting with page number 6 from the Allegro section. I did mention earlier that it doesn't ultimately have to be played Allegro. Um, the final tempo I'm kind of aiming for is between 80 to 95 crotchet beats per minute, which is not at all allegro. If I'm not mistaken, allegro starts at about 120. So it is much slower than allegro. Uh, so currently, I think I'm at 50 to 70% of the tempo that the minimum tempo I'm aiming for. I think I'm at about, let me check. Okay, I'm just going to start with like 50% tempo and see whether I need to adjust it. So I'm starting from um, I'm actually not going to start exactly from the Allegro section just because there are these really fast passages which I'm anyway not going to be playing in time. So it doesn't make sense for me to try and squish it into the metronome speed I'm playing it at. I'm going to start from the section where I think my clarity starts to really dip, and that's from the third line of the Allegro section from the octave triplet from there. Okay, I lost my play stuff from the second line. Okay, that round of playing was okay. I definitely did make a lot of mistakes through it, but I'm not too worried about that because I think this is the first time I'm making mistakes in this section in the notes. I have played it with slow practice before and it was perfectly fine. It could just be that I haven't warmed up properly. Um, so yes, I'm not too worried about that. I am going to attempt the entire section once more at the same tempo. If I start making a lot of mistakes, then I'd probably get a little concerned and figure out what's happening. So I didn't really make a mistake there. The reason I stopped is because I realized that there's a marking which says lift pedal, which I haven't been doing. But I'm again not too concerned about it because I have listened to a lot of versions online where they don't follow the pedal marking, and I honestly prefer it. I do believe it is important for me to give it a try and see if that's something I want to retain or ignore the pedal marking. So, I don't really like this version, but I definitely have to look more into it because I didn't try it too much. So I'm going to continue with the section played with the metronome and maybe revisit this a little later to figure out whether I want to continue playing it the way I am or playing it the way that's written in the score. Okay, this was a better round of playing. I am going to increase it a little more. I did just look back and realized a few days ago I managed to reach quaver equal to 180 in this section, which means I was playing it a lot faster a few days ago. uh, that, of course, was not the highest speed I could play. I can play this section much faster, but my entire goal for the next few times I play this piece is to, number one, build clarity, and number two is find a way to reduce the amount of tension I hold when I'm playing these sections. So, what happens when you play something slower is you can constantly remind yourself to release tension in the gaps between two notes. Which, of course, when you're playing faster, there is a lot lesser time for you to shake off the tension. So, I am gonna play it, let's say, another time at a faster tempo, and then I'm gonna try 180, which was the tempo I was at a few days ago. If I played at 180 with no tension, then I'm good. I can even build up from there. But if again I start to feel tension, I'm gonna play it slower. So right now I'm gonna do 135. So I played that at 180, and there was a lot of tension compared to when I was playing it slower. Um, I do really have to constantly think about shaking off tension. Also, it's a kind of tricky situation because this section is really hard, but at the same time, it requires you to keep your hand outstretched for such prolonged periods of time that it can also cause a lot of strain. So even though it needs work and it needs a lot of practice, I feel it needs intermittent practice sessions, which means maybe the amount I've done right now is enough. I could even consider coming back to it a little later on in the day before I end my practice session. So I am going to keep the section till here. I definitely wasn't very happy with playing it in 180. 180 would be crotchet equal to 60, which means 60, which is about 75% of the minimum final tempo I should get it to. So I'm still in not a very good place with this section. Um, a part of me believes that it's not just practice I need, it's a big technique improvement in order to make this section happen. It is all about me holding tension while playing this. I think I really need to work on overcoming holding tension in my hand while playing for this section to come about. So, if it's a technique requirement that I need, just any amount of practice may not even benefit me. You know, slow to fast practice won't even benefit me unless I bring in the right technique. Okay, I am going to go on to the next section now, the lento section. That too, I haven't got it to a great standard. However, tempo wise, it's fine. There are those two-handed trills in this lento section which haven't come about. I am not able to coordinate the left and right hands. Of course, it's the left that's lagging. So that's one of the sections that I need to really put in some concentrated effort into today. So I'm going to get through the rest of the piece. There are three more pages left. I'm going to do the same slow practice and then come to these very short, very tricky sections.